Hi everybody, Dane here from Moving to Canada, and today we're going to be talking about finding a job in Canada as an immigrant and how pre-arrival services, so these are services that are often free and widely available to newcomers, so how these services can help you start planning for your Canadian career before you even set foot in Canada. And we're going to be deep diving into this topic by talking about one example of a pre-arrival service that can help you to find a job in Canada, and that is Canada InfoNet. If you're eligible for Canada InfoNet, you can get individualized support from an employment specialist, you can get mentored by someone who's working in your field in Canada, and you'll even have opportunities to connect with employers. And you can get all of this support for free if you're eligible. And if at any time you do want more information about Canada InfoNet, you can get this just by clicking the link down there in the pinned comment. But joining us to discuss all of this is Irene Vaksman, who is the Director of Newcomer Services at JVS Toronto. Irene, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I am great, thank you. And thank you so much for having me, Dane. Pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. So today, Irene, we're talking about how immigrants can use pre-arrival services to find work in Canada as newcomers. So let's just start with the basics, like at a very general level. Irene, what are pre-arrival services?
Great, thank you, Dane. So first of all, welcome everyone. And Canadian government takes a deliberate effort to offer these services to all immigrating newcomers for free. So all of these services, pre-arrival services, including Canada InfoNet, are offered at no cost, funded by the federal government through Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. So this is already something very credible that is being offered. And through pre-arrival services, what you can expect is that you get information that will help prepare you for your move to Canada. Understanding, the different communities, understanding how to make the move in the most efficient way. Pre-arrival services can also help you understand how the Canadian labor market works and how your career, the career that you had in your home country, can translate into a successful career in Canada. And that takes a lot of preparation. So don't delay. Start it now. Get connected with our employment specialists who can give you an overview of your profession in Canada and perhaps discuss some alternative options for you to better integrate, because there might be some differences between different professions in other parts of the world compared to Canada. Another area that pre-arrival services can help you with is evaluating your international credentials and again, seeing how these credentials can be applied in the Canadian environment, in the Canadian labor market. And lastly, make connections, because this is something that all of us who are coming into the new country, we leave all of our connections, all of our networks behind. How do you establish your new network? How do you connect to professionals in your field? Even social networks. This is all something that pre-arrival services can help you with through some mentoring components that, for example, our program offers as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so many jobs in Canada are promoted through the sort of hidden jobs market through these networks of people. So it's great to get started early, like you said, Irene. And I know that in order to be eligible for this, to start taking part in these pre-arrival services, often immigrants have to have crossed certain immigration milestones. So let's talk specifically about Canada InfoNet now. Irene, who is eligible for Canada InfoNet? And just so you're aware, while you're discussing this, I'm just going to screencast the registration page on Canada InfoNet so people can follow along.
For sure. Thank you for that. So Canada InfoNet is, again, government-funded pre-arrival service. So the eligibility criteria is set by the Canadian government. And in order to be eligible for the service, you must adhere to certain criteria that, again, are established by the government, not by us at JVS Toronto or Canada InfoNet. Canada InfoNet is a part of an organization called JVS Toronto, which has been helping immigrants from 1947. So we have a lot of experience as an organization supporting newcomers, refugees, people who are coming into Canada to establish a new life. This particular program, Canada InfoNet, that's funded by the Canadian government, has certain criteria. So in order to access this service for free, you must be approved for immigration to Canada and be able to demonstrate one of the documents that you can now see on the screen. It could be either invitation to access pre-arrival services or a request to invitation to demonstrate your medical exam documents. So anything that proves that you're an approved immigrant who is about to immigrate. You need to be outside of Canada and you need to be immigrating within the next 12 months. Usually our program takes about 8 to 10 weeks, but within the period of 12 months. So again, it's up to you to decide when is the right time to connect. But I would just say connect as early as you can, as soon as you can, and our employment specialists will determine what's the right pathway for you depending on your situation. So if you can spare some time preparing, there is no such thing as starting too early. It's like educating your children. When do you start? You start before they're born. You start thinking about this process as early as possible, because all of us have some ideas in our mind of what our life will look like in Canada. And all of our participants say that it was nothing that they imagined. So try to connect with us as soon as possible so that you can be more prepared, that you can understand better, and you can have the genuine, real information about what's happening to Canada so that you can prepare yourself.
That's great, Irene. And look, these people are immigrants. They've already gone through this very complex immigration process. You folks know how to plan ahead, so plan ahead for your employment success in Canada as well. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into Canada InfoNet and the pre-arrival services that you folks offer, Irene. It's my understanding that there are like 3 major ways that Canada InfoNet helps newcomers to get ready for their career in Canada. So Irene, what are those 3 ways?
So as I mentioned, we've been in this business for over 70 years. And over the years with our experience, we identified that there are 3 biggest milestones or areas that you need to prepare yourself in order to be successful. And especially pre-arrival, when you need to really gauge and understand the different aspects of your job search. So we divided it into 3 main action areas. Action area number 1 is planning. How do you go about your planning your career in Canada, and who can help you in that? So connecting to our employment specialists pre-arrival, they can help you plan the navigation of the Canadian labor market. The licensure processes, if you are in a regulated profession, because in Canada, all professions are divided into regulated, for which you need a license to practice, and unregulated, for which you don't. What is the process like? For many regulated professions, you can enter the labor market and you can start employment without necessarily having a license right away. So when is the right time to apply for the licensure? All of these aspects you can discuss with your employment specialist. So understanding, planning, having a short-term plan, having a long-term plan, what is your kind of final goal that you are trying to achieve? And again, processing everything from the lens of the Canadian situation, because the idea that you have from your country might not necessarily apply 100% to what is happening here. Plus, during these uncertain times, situations in the labor market change. So understanding the situation from a specialist who lives and works here, who understands the different industries, is definitely a huge asset for you. Understanding the job search strategies in Canada. Again, how you look for a job in other parts of the world might look very different from what is acceptable and not acceptable in Canada. Understanding those strategies, understanding how to market yourself, which is, again, another kind of foreign notion to many people. Marketing yourself, talking about your successes, talking about your accomplishments. This is something that's very acceptable in Canada, and you need to learn how to do it effectively in order to land a job. And identify the right job opportunities for you. And again, as I mentioned, we're very big on planning, short-term, long-term. What is the right job to start with, so that you don't underestimate yourself too much, but you also don't aim at jobs that you would not be qualified for necessarily, because for some of these jobs, you will need to be prepared better. So get that plan that will move you from point A to point B in the most efficient in the most efficient way for you. And our goal is always to help professionals think about their professional move to Canada from a perspective of a career. We're building a career here. We're not just landing a job. We're trying to give you a perspective of what this job is going to help you with in terms of building your career in the long term. The second aspect is learning. So number one is plan. Number two is learn. We have a whole array of different virtual modules where you can learn yourself in this era of people learning things online in asynchronous kind of way, where you can take responsibility for your learning. We have access to all these modules on job search, on interview skills, on Canadian workplace culture and communication, helping you with business writing skills so that you sound like a Canadian while approaching the Canadian labor market, which is very important. So all of these modules are available through Canada InfoNet program. And once you connect with an employment specialist, they will recommend which modules are best suited for you and in what particular order, because we take a very individualized approach. Your employment specialist will create a plan that's good for you. It's customized for your situation. And then from there, they will recommend which modules you should be taking and which you can benefit from. And the last area out of our three major milestones is connecting. We cannot speak enough about how important connections are in terms of networking, knowing people in your field who can give you firsthand information about employment in your profession. As much as our employment specialists have a lot of experience and they've, and they can research and they have connections, and of course they can give you a lot of information about your field, connecting to professionals who are employed in the field. So for example, if you're an engineer, connecting to an engineer who is practicing in Canada, or if you're a nurse, or if you're a teacher, or any kind of field that you're coming from, through our mentoring program within Canada InfoNet, online pre-arrival, we will try to connect you to a professional in your field and in your province of destination, so that you can hear that personal experience from people who are working. Let's say, you're an engineer and you're planning to settle in Winnipeg. We will try to connect you to an engineer who practices in Manitoba, because there might be some provincial differences, and it is you will start establishing a network. So you will already know someone who is working in your field before you even stepped on Canadian soil. So this is something very valuable that our program can provide. And again, Canada InfoNet is one of the oldest pioneers of online and pre-arrival mentoring. So we have a lot of experiences there, lots of success stories, and people really appreciate and benefit from these firsthand connections.
Okay, that's amazing, Irene. So just to reiterate, plan, learn, and connect. Those are the three major milestones that Canada InfoNet can help newcomers with. And these are phenomenal offerings, and it's incredible to me that these services are available for free to eligible newcomers, thanks to the funding from IRCC. So I'd like to just make this a little bit more real for our audience. And Irene, you just mentioned that you have tons of success stories from Canada InfoNet. Would you be able to share just the success story of one newcomer who has recently benefited from your services?
Sure. And we have lots of newcomers who benefited from our services and who successfully established themselves in Canada. And one of the things that we take great pride in, that many of our former participants became mentors for current participants. And
amazing.
And this is, I think, the biggest accomplishment that shows that our program really works. One of the success stories that I wanted to share, you can also read about the story on our Canada InfoNet blog. So one of our participants, her name is Tanya. She is an immigrant from Nigeria. And she accessed early on in her immigration process, when she was approved and eligible, she accessed our pre-arrival program. And she saved for herself a lot of nerve-wracking situations of uncertainty, because she connected with an employment specialist who was able to help her create a plan. So Tanya's background is in hospitality industry, and Tanya was very eager to learn about the sector, to learn about career opportunities in the sector. So what the employment specialist was able to do is to help Tanya create a plan that included not only information about the particular hospitality and tourism sector, which is not, going through its best days right now, but also thinking about alternative careers that can be relevant to Tanya's particular situation. Then as a next step, she attended our online learning, virtual learning modules recommended by the employment specialist to focus on the areas that would be particularly interesting to someone in her field. So for example, one of the offerings that we have online is information on customer service. What is customer service like in Canada? And for someone who is looking for employment in the hospitality and tourism sector, this is probably the most important aspect, being very well equipped in customer service foundations the Canadian way. So this is something that is offered through our virtual modules as well, in addition to, again, supports in general job search, how to do an effective interview, how to write your resume properly, so that it gets selected by applicant tracking systems, because in many cases the first round of selection is not even done by humans, it is done by machines. So how do you make sure that your resume gets selected for the right jobs that you are aiming at? All of this information is provided by our employment specialists, as well as the learning modules that you can take in your own time. And then the last, the last step of Tanya's process was connecting to a mentor. And this connection really helped her build a very good, solid understanding of what is happening in the field, knowing someone who's already working in the field. So that definitely equipped her, and she writes about it in her blog, how it helped boost her confidence and how she feels so much more prepared to hit the ground running once she arrives in Canada. And this means that we did our job well.
Okay, that's amazing. And that's, as you said, just one of so many success stories. And I think our viewers can really see the benefit of, starting early, planning early, and finding that employment success early after they do arrive in Canada. So just before we do wrap things up here, Irene, for our audience who's watching, what's one thing that you'd recommend, maybe for someone who's outside Canada right now, but who wants to be in Canada and working within a year or so? What's one thing that person could do today?
So first of all, Canadians' job market and job search have its unique aspects. So in order to navigate the Canadian situation, connect with us. We obviously have the experience and the expertise. Through Canada InfoNet, we can help you plan your employment, plan your career, and connect you to the right resources. So don't hesitate to connect with us, because through Canada InfoNet, you don't only get the 3 aspects of plan, learn, and connect, but through the connect piece, you don't only connect to mentors, we will also connect you to other relevant services that you might need, because we know how to navigate the system, so to speak, of pre-arrival services as well. So my biggest piece of advice would be connect to Canada InfoNet. It's totally risk-free. It's funded by the government. It's free for you. It doesn't mean that it's not worth anything. It's a very valuable service, but don't hesitate, because through Canada InfoNet, we can connect you to other resources as well, depending on your individual situation.
Okay, that's amazing. Great advice, Irene. So look, if you're out there watching this video and you're planning to arrive in Canada within the next 12 months, click the link in the pinned comment and register with Canada InfoNet. Their pre-arrival program can get you individualized support from an employment specialist, mentorship from someone who is in Canada working in the field that you want to work in, plus access to virtual job fairs and so much more. And you can get all the support for free if you're eligible. So click the link and register. You can also follow Canada InfoNet on social media. I'll pop a couple links to their channels down in the description. So Irene, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I really appreciate the expertise you've shared.
Thank you, Dane. It was a pleasure to be here today, and I'd like to wish all of our pre-arrival immigrants great success in the Canadian job market and in general.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in, and if you did like this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you next time. Bye.